So as you see before you right now, these are the images of Lil Nas X. Now, he's not the first artist to quote unquote buck the system or be brash and try and get a reaction or a rise out of a religious community. And he won't be the last one. But I will say this, there's something different about this, to me personally. Lil Nas X is nobody, he's no stranger to controversy, of course. And he has done this before, a few years ago when he released a song, Montero, where he had depictions of Satan and him doing acts on Satan. And he had the Satan shoe with the blood inside. And seeing Lil Nas X enter what he calls now his Christian era, I had hope that this would be something genuine and something that he was actually, striving to accomplish. And I still hope that for him. This is not coming from a point of hate or anything like that. And this is not to bash Lil Nas X. I hope that he has an encounter with the Lord. I hope that that God can transform his life. Because when I look at him, I don't look at him as just a regular old artist. I remember when he first became well known, when he first dropped into the mainstream, to say the least. I remember seeing him as somebody with talent, somebody who seems like they have the ability to be somebody. The Old Town Road, the song he became famous for, was very catchy. A lot of his older songs that were released and that were floating around the internet, and then his first EP that he dropped called 7, I liked it. I liked his music. But all of a sudden, everything took a turn. We go through the pandemic, we get into 2021. That's when it became, he started to try and provoke the religious community, specifically Christians, with the song Montero. And that song right there had a very dark and demonic music video attached to it. The song itself it sounds like a regular old pop song, but the music video was filled with demonic imagery. And when it gets down to it, of course, he's not the first person to do this. He's not the first person and won't be the last to do something like this. But specifically in this time that we're living in, Doja Cat, anybody else that's using this type of imagery, this has been done for years. He's now depicting himself with a cross and depicting himself in the place of Jesus on this imagery for his new album, his new single, J Christ. And it was something so dark about it. When I'm watching I saw a video on it on TikTok about this, and it really, something about this threw me off. Same way when I saw those pictures of Doja Cat, and I looked into her eyes, and you could see something. There's a door has been opened there. Whether these people believe or not, I'm a Christian, so I believe in the Lord, and I believe in spirituality and the spiritual side of this battle. This is not, I'm not coming from a point of just religion or just bashing him because of whatever. No, I actually genuinely hope that he has an encounter with Christ. I genuinely hope that he can take a walk of faith, because it's not easy. None of us are perfect. Even the people who make videos about him, none of them are perfect. None of us have, we can't just sit back and just judge him and lob bombs at him all day without where it's coming from a point of hate rather than a point of genuine desire to see somebody come to the faith. As jarring as it may be to see that type of imagery, okay, he's not the first one to do it. Kanye's done this. I'm a fan of Kanye. I like Kanye. Kanye's done this. DaBaby has done this. I'm sure there's been other artists over the years that have done things like that. And I genuinely, like I said, I genuinely hope that he has that encounter with Christ. But I can see the spirit that's moving through the industry, that's moving through the music, that's moving through everything. And I know I love music. I'm a music person. Music is one of the biggest things that has been one of the biggest things in my life, has been music. But I will tell you this right now. As big as music is, I'm becoming more aware and more in tune with the things within music. And I don't say in tune like I'm matching it. I'm actually hearing it. My ears are picking up on certain things that I didn't pick up on before when it comes to certain songs or certain artists. Now, some artists are out and out with it, like they'll put it in your face. Recently, Doja Cat came out saying, I'm not satanic, it's just an aesthetic, but really they don't know that they've opened up a gateway, they've opened up a door. And this just doesn't go for secular artists. Guys, there's a thing going on in the gospel community as well, the gospel music industry. The gateway is opened up. We battle not against people, but we battle against spirits. We battle against sin. These spirits operate within people, and they operate within what's created by people. And so, music can be so infectious. It can be influential. It can get stuck in your head. But that's the point. The devil can use music to influence you, because there's a lot of music now compared to music 10 or so years ago seems so much more dark and depressing. Now, there's always been dark and depressing music throughout the ages, but now it's like a majority of music, especially R&B, a lot of hip hop, and even pop songs are very, very depressing. And they're meant to get you in your feelings. People talk about being in their feelings, but the song is dragging you into your feelings, even if you're not a person who, maybe you're not even really sad about anything, but you listen to a song and the artist wants you to feel something. They want to evoke that, but there's something operating in that. The spirit of sadness comes about. The spirit of depression comes about from certain music and certain songs, and it latches on. And next thing you know, you're feeling away. Then you have the very brash and violent music, and a lot of that is in hip hop, but also punk and heavy metal. I remember I used to listen to some heavy metal back in my younger days, so especially when I was in middle school. And I remember it makes you feel angry. It makes you want to just like rage and kick stuff. The same goes for a lot of violent hip hop music. People will start fighting over certain Young Boy songs. Like a Young Boy song has come on at a party I've attended before, and it caused a fight. And there's been other songs that they don't play at certain places because it causes fights. That's because that spirit starts to move through the music. It starts to move through the music and move into the people who are listening to that music. And now those people have become influenced, the demonic influence of music. So that brings me back to Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X's new song that he's supposedly going to release. This song is gonna have Christian overtones, as supposedly supposed to have Christian overtones, and it almost sounds, from the snippet I've heard, it sounds like he is almost crying out to the Lord. He's crying out for acceptance. He's crying out to be brought in. But at the same time, he's slapping God in the face with the imagery and the blasphemy. So it's a double-edged sword. And I just can't help but feel compelled to pray for the man. It was aggravating and irritating to watch that, especially how I feel about the Lord and how I feel about my faith and what I want for other people. God gave us free will. He gave us the free will to choose. So I would want somebody else to choose to take that walk too. And I'm not coming from a place of perfection, I promise you. I'm not perfect. I struggle just as much as the next man. I humbly admit that. I am nowhere. I want to get even stronger in my walk. I will say that right now. I want to get even stronger in my walk. But to see stuff like this, it's blatant. It's jarring. It's stabbing. And I see Lil Nas X in his struggle. He might have been hurt by the church in the past. He might have been hurt by Christianity in the past. And with him being homosexual, that might have been a very harsh experience that he might have had with other people in the past, especially when it comes to faith and what the Bible says about that. So I would hope that he could come forth and have an encounter and have an experience with God. and that God can touch him and change his heart. And that goes for not just him, but any other artist, any regular person on the street, anybody. I wish that, and I pray for that. I don't wish, I pray for that for him. I want him to experience that. Like, even throughout this darkness that's being just rained down upon the population, this darkness that's infected us, that's infected our society, that's infected our community, I pray that a light shines through and is able to touch his heart, the heart of Doja Cat, any other artist going through this same thing, that it can rain down over hip-hop, that it can rain down over pop, that it can rain down over all music genres, rock, heavy metal, all of it, that it just rains down. God made music to worship him. He made music so that we should worship him and use it to magnify him. So I pray that Lil Nas X has an encounter with the Lord. I'm not gonna fire and brimstone this man and hope that God strikes him down. No, I want him to have an encounter. I want God to touch him. I want God to touch his heart. Because I see him as a person who, I don't know him personally, of course, but I see that he doesn't seem like a bad person. He doesn't seem like he's somebody that's just, what he's doing is, the imagery that he's operating in is evil imagery. But he himself, where his heart is, I don't know him, but I would think that he's a nice guy. And I really would want him to encounter or have that encounter so that he can have a genuine experience. And hey, maybe he could turn his whole life around, his whole existence around, and that he can genuinely make Christian music. That would be beautiful. That would be amazing to see. You know, I mean, Kanye almost did it, yeah, but he did it for a period of time, but Kanye has seemed to relapse into what he was struggling with before, and I pray the same thing for Kanye. I empathize, I sympathize with Kanye's mind and how he thinks and how he comes off sometimes. And I'm not talking about everything he says, but just his mentality, like, and how he can be misunderstood. I understand that. So I pray for all of them. I want all of them to have a genuine encounter. Same for anybody listening to this video right now. I pray that you have a genuine encounter with the Lord. And I just thank you all for listening to this installment of the Fireside Chat. May God bless you all and have a wonderful day or night.